Hello everybody, Thorgal here, and welcome back to Satisfactory. It has been over 7 months since my last video, and in case you are wondering what has been happening in my life and why there has been no videos, then I recommend you watching my latest channel update. I'm gonna put a link down in the description so you get all caught up. But I am back now, and I am super excited to show you a couple of changes that I have made on this world. So while I was on break from uploading videos, didn't mean that I did not play any games. So I still played Satisfactory, and I fixed mostly a lot of things that broke through mods not working anymore after the update 4. So they were removed, and they broke a couple of our production chains. I'll point those out later, where that broke and what I needed to fix. And I have done, a little bit of house cleaning, like clean up old areas that we set up, but I never really decorated. Like our Quartz cave and a couple other places. I'll point them out. And then also over Christmas, I did the whole Christmas event. I'm going to show you the building I made for that. It was very relaxing. I just played the game, And then also the last couple weeks, I've been heavily working on getting prepared for the next episode after this one, where we're going to set up the next mega project. It's going to be a really big one, probably the biggest one I have ever made. And it's going to revolve around oil and power. What I decided today is I'm going to make a world tour real quick, a little bit of an update to get everybody, old viewers, caught up, to, remind them what we've done so far, and possibly to give a chance for new viewers to get caught up of what we've done up to this point. So the first and second episode buildings, they do not exist anymore. Our starter base and starter coal power. But in episode 3, we set out with the tractor and came into this cave here because I remembered from season 1 that there was 2 quartz nodes here, and the building is new and the production. But what we did here is we simply had 2 miners over here that made us quartz crystals, and we just voided them into the item sink to get lots and lots of coupon points. One thing I want to just point out here real quick, you guys are going to notice some of this flickering here on certain intersections, certain conveyor belts. And the only way I can disable that is if I go into options and video, and then I go down here, experimental conveyor rendering, and I turn that off. But then the problem is that I lose 10 to 15, more like 15 frames per second in my main base area, and it becomes really rough, especially for recording. So it doesn't happen often, but it does happen, and just in case you're wondering. And I hope, because it says experimental rendering, that this is going to be fixed eventually, right? So over the break here, I redid this building because the 2 last items that are in tier 1 through 4, I think 1, yeah, were silica and quartz crystal that we did not have in the base yet in the storage. So what I did here is I simply redid the setup a little bit. The bottom floor makes the quartz crystals, and the top floor makes the silica. And you guys also see I played around a little bit with lighting, made it pink because it's, well, quartz, it's pink. Or whatever color that is, okay? It's pink to me. How it works is it comes in, smart splitter that fills all the constructors first, and only if that is full, then the overflow will go up top. And the same on this here. And they merge in the back over here and then get voided, just like all our quartz crystal and our, I want to be right here, the silica. If the belt to the base is full, then the rest all gets voided into coupon points, right? I have about 100 tickets left. I used a bunch of them when I explored the world, and we have another 35 waiting here. But yeah, so I just changed this up a little bit. And like I said, it was also one of the first things I played with after update 4, and I played around with the lights, and even then here power, this is redundant. I don't really need to separate power for lights because you can turn it off, and I'll get to lights towards the end of the World 2 here, explaining what my thoughts are on it, and then I won't be using them very much. But yeah, anyway, so that is our quartz. I should have probably mentioned this earlier, but I'm using a mod that lets me fly, clip through items, and so on, so it makes it really nice for making a world tour like this. And I've also turned off autosaving. I have nothing on me and so on, so I put all of this into storage boxes, so when this is over, I can just load the last master save. I don't use autosaves very much at all, and then everything is back to the way it was normal, right? Just in case you're wondering. So the next episode, episode 4, we set up our first big project, and this is when all of these big conveyor bridges started happening, right? And right here, you guys see a lot of limestone going that way. These are actually going the other way. The iron and the copper and so on. But yeah, all from the grasslands. We bring in all the limestone, and it all goes over here to our concrete factory. So, I think there is, let's see how many belts are coming in. 3, 6, 9, 10 belts of concrete at different speeds. So, they all go down to the very bottom of this concrete building. And down here, we are doing a little bit of a load balancing. So, all our different construction modules on the top get the same amount. So, some of them get split and then back merged and so on. And then they all go over here, equally balanced, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them, into the upper floors. There's 2 floors. Each one of them, I think, has a module of, always 4. So there is 4 modules, 6 modules here. And then I think there's less up here. Yes, 6, 8, 10 modules. Well, yeah, 10 belts, 10 modules. Makes sense. And yeah, we're making 600 concrete a minute. And that all comes out right here. And then goes back, gets all merged together into nicely run belts, all the way back to the main building. Episode 5 of Season 2 was our big power overhaul. That's when I tore down the first power plant, the coal power plant that was right next to the concrete building. And we found 4 new good nodes right here in this valley. I don't know what this place is called, but there's 2 right there, 2 right there. And I have since the episode overclocked each one of them. So they are now all, instead of mining 240, they're mining 270. So we have 4 full belts. And the reason for that was that now with the changes of update 4, that the generators do not stop running. They always run, right? I was starting to lose a little bit of coal, especially when I loaded my vehicles. I'm gonna show you guys what I mean by that. So I'm just following these bridges so you guys get a little bit of an idea on how many miles of conveyors and so on we ran. And over here we're coming to the waterfall ocean area. That's why I put the power plant. So right here in another episode, I don't know the number now, we added a truck depot at the main base. And I wanted to be able to just drive the vehicles underneath a truck station and they get fueled with coal, right? Total overkill over here. I'm splitting out 1 coal right there. And this is the coal that goes back to that truck depot. Look at all the flickering. Oh my goodness. It's bananas. And because I wanted to make sure that I have fully balanced belts, we set up this big lane balancer over here, right? So we get 4 equal belts coming out in the end. All of this was broken, by the way, because one of the mods that we used was called the counter mod, I think. So there was counters on all these belts. So we see the throughput. So we could actually see that we get equal amounts coming out. Wherever this counter was, it broke the belt after I removed the mod because it just does. It hasn't been updated since then. So I had to rerun these short pieces everywhere, here and all over the main base. We had so many counters, it was crazy to find out where it was all broken. But anyways, the thing was, because if I actually used the trucks a lot, or I would use this coal in the base for something small, right? Because this over here is set up to run on 4 belts of 240. Well, if I'm tapping in and I'm taking a little bit out of it, then some of these generators over here, the power generators, were running lower. I just did not have enough coal. That's why I overclocked them to 270, and now everything is caught up again. So the coal goes down there to those 64 coal generators, and then over here is all our water extractors. And this was just something that I wanted to build. I wanted to have a little bit of a water tower. Completely unnecessary. I could have just pumped from them straight there. Would have saved me a lot of... What are these things called again? I forgot. Pumps or... Yeah, pumps. And it was a lot of work with the pipe and so on, but I had a ton of fun. And this was also before water extractor snapped. I showed a little bit of a trick back then on how you can make it so they're all aligned really nicely. And they all just go up in here into fluid tanks and then just gravity fed back down. And this feeds all these 64 coal generators. So this is the only power that we have. Well, there is 3 fuel generators back there. You can see it. That I was just experimenting with, trying to understand how the ratios there work. But yeah, everything again is, I think, nicely decorated. Of course, you could do a lot more, but I don't like to just have platforms hovering. So anyway, that's our power generation, and that's all we have right now. And then my biggest episode, I think, overall on my channel is, it was called Mega Smeltery. And I stand by that. It's mega. And that is these two buildings right here. A copper building, which is slightly smaller than our iron building. It was time to bring in all the iron and all the copper from the grassland. Even the impure nodes, everything. Every single node that is in the grasslands is tapped into. And it all comes in right here. Into this first building. Now, besides, I think, 2 lanes that I balance, or merge, I should say, together. So I get all MK3s coming out on the other side. This building's purpose is to cross over. Okay? Because you guys see when this comes in, this is like iron, iron, copper. Iron, 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 copper, and so on. You guys see these are mixed. They're not all on the same side. And I wanted to come out in the back nicely organized right here. So there's all the copper together, 6 belts and 12 belts of iron. Right? And that's the purpose of this building right here. That took forever to figure out how to do this. Oh my god. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. There's 2 floors because some, are going underneath. Right there. This is, I think, all the copper. Yes, so I get it all to the left side. And all the iron just went straight through on the right side. And like I said, there's a couple that I merged together just to make a full MK3 belt because I had like 2 MK2s or maybe an MK2 and 2 MK1s, something like that. Okay, then from there, like I said, it goes around the back here. And this is the copper input. And then the inside is pretty much identical on both. And here's all the iron input, okay? And then every floor has modules of 8 smelters. And they are all load balanced. I did not use the overflow method on the smelters. I made them load balanced because I just enjoyed making it. Honestly, it would be just fine to do it the overflow method. There's no reason to do a load balancing, but it was just fun doing it, figuring it out. And I also tried to run the power a little bit different before we had the new power connectors. So I ran these rails across it and so on, right? Just so I had less stuff on the floor. And this was the first time that I got stuff off the ground. There was really no reason to do this here besides visual. It looks better. In the actual manufacturing part over here that we're going to look at in a minute, there it actually makes sense because I run belts and stuff underneath it. Everything comes back together over here, all the iron from there and the copper. And then I go into here and I don't know what I was thinking with this building. I got a lot of comments about that. And you guys, of course, were right. I don't know why I had a double turn in this building, right? Okay, there we go. Why I had everything turn, turn, turn. I could have just ran these straight through and then turn, right? So there would have been only one 90-degree angle. But it kind of looks cool, so I'm glad I did it. What is this foundation for? Hello? I gotta remember that because, like I said, I'm not saving, so I gotta remove this later. Never noticed it. But yeah, this is 5.5 belts of copper. I think one is yeah, it's an MK2. So I got 5 belts of MK3 and 1 MK2. And the iron is all MK3s. So there's still some of it used. Because I am the only part that I'm not full on yet is the crystal oscillators. And that brings us to our last episode before my break. And that is filling this entire factory here with all the automation from tier 1 through 4. And also I added 5 and 6 in the end. That was just a couple of manufacturers pretty much. Now, this is a 4-story building. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. The ground floor is our storage, and we'll go inside in just a second. Storage, and I also make the elevator parts down there now, automated. The second story is all iron. The third one is copper, chyterium, and also steel. Then this top floor is all the assemblers, and the roof is our manufacturers and hub, and of course our elevator. So let me go ahead and show you first while we're out here. Most of the items from the assemblers and so on are coming out here, or some of them, I should say. This is what it is, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, and they're coming over onto the conveyor bridge here, and then they're going here, are getting joined by quartz crystal and silica, and then this is this big wall right here, so you guys can see all the items that are coming in from there. So this is, I think, AI limiters, motors, stators, encased, rotors, normal frames, and reinforced iron plates. And then concrete comes in from this side, and then I just bridge over right there and alter these different ones, and when you guys see them coming from up there, these are the other parts. Okay, so let's start with the storage itself first. Let me just get in there. Now, we're always feeding, this is mirrored. There's a left side and a right side. And it starts on this end, goes down that way, and then comes back this way. That's my order, okay? So all of these chests are getting filled from behind. And then you have these other conveyor belts that are not used yet because this is the later part. But there's some used. Let me turn on my light. Right there, for example, this is circuit boards. Yes. Circuit boards empty and empty, which is rubber and plastic. Then we have the crystal oscillators and the heavy modular frames. And then we also have further down computers, but I don't make any more because I'm out of rubber. I've been getting the rubber by hand, and I'll show you guys that in a minute from where. And if they cross over, they also go in from the back. Okay? And then in the front, on some of them, let's find a couple. Right there. I'm pretty sure this is rubber, right? Yes. It would get pulled out front and then go up to wherever I need it. Okay? It's here it gets split into different parts, and then it goes all the way to the roof. And other things like the stators, for example, here, cable, rotors, steel, and so on, you guys see it, all goes down this way. It's a little bright here because I got the lighting, I played around with it, and they all go to these assemblers and to manufacturers. And this is where I make elevator parts now, because initially I did not automate them. We had it here, but I didn't automate them completely, but now they are automated because we needed them for the unlocking 7 and 8 with these parts here. Bam and bam. And these are currently not running because they are missing. I turned them off. That was the thing. Yes, I turned them both off because, like I said, I'm always out of rubber. And then this one I turned off because I do not make enough computers. There is some on the belt here, but it's not saturated all the way. And I didn't want to keep making, or, you know, I wanted to make sure my storage gets filled now with computers because for the next project we need so many. Okay, then over here is the gunpowder, and that is the only thing that goes into, you guys see it's actually all moving, not at full speed, but right here is a smart splitter. This goes up to make cartridges and the nobelisks, and only if that belt is full and the machines are saturated, I'm sending the rest over to get voided in the awesome building right there, right underneath there, and it goes in. By the way, in case you haven't seen this, I kept the inside open. Kind of a little bit of a habitat here. Right all the way up. I still like it. Okay, so over here is where we start. We have 2 modules for iron plates. I'm not going to go into details, guys. You're just going to have to watch the episode if you want to know exactly how we set everything up and the numbers and all that stuff. Then here we make iron rods. There is 4 modules, sorry, because we need so many of those. And then, of course, always in the end, it comes out and gets sent somewhere else. Then split even here. Actually, this one I'm merging in because I needed more in this belt. Didn't have enough. And then over here, we have our big screw production. Don't remember exactly how many, but I think it's well over 2,000 screws a minute we're making. They're all coming down here from these different modules. Is there something missing in the floor? Oh, because I think this is where the rubber comes up. Yes. And I don't have any more fancy conveyor hole foundations because every time the mod updates or broke, they just disappear. So I got tired of putting them in. Goes into these storages. There's 8 of them. And then comes out in the back, of course, this huge highway of screws. Goes up. Nothing is moving because everything is full. Okay? All right, then let's go up a floor. This is the copper floor. We have 4 modules for wire. 3 just to use as wire, and then the fourth one actually comes over here, and we're making cables with that. And this over here is all copper sheets. It's 2 long modules because the ratio is completely different, right? So these are all for copper plates. And then you guys see here, it's all gets loaded and split up in all different directions, 4 different conveyor belts coming out. Then this is our big Criterium wire setup. And I wanted to mention something. When we initially set this up, I thought that this belt was coming in with 240, and we set everything up for that. And then I found out it's not running at 100%, and I looked at the Satisfactory calculator website, loaded my world there, and found out that I only produced 160. But since then, I overclocked the 2 Criterium miners and overclocked all of the smelters in there, and now we are getting 240. So now this can run at 100%. Okay, and then on this floor, we also have our small steel production. It's actually really tiny. It's really, really small. I only have 4 of them. I think it's 4. Is it 5? It's 4. Making steel beams. And then I think I have 8. Yes. Making the steel tubes. Or steel rods, whatever. Now, once I have a miner MK3 available to me, then I can double our steel towers. Okay? But the 2 iron nodes that I'm tapping into are only normal. So they're already fully overclocked, or almost fully overclocked to 270. I can't get them up to 540. So, but once we have the miner MK3, I'm gonna double this over here, and then we can, instead of extending this here, we can just put in, again, overclocking shards, right? And then we can double our steel production. Just gotta update the belts and so on. Okay, and then next floor up, I'm gonna start in the side where we started building. We are at the assembler floor. This makes all the reinforced plates. And this one I did not go with an overflow. I actually load balanced, which added a lot of work, but I wanted to make sure all the machines run at the same time. Because you know, we always just sent exactly enough materials here that we needed, in form of using a lot of splitter setups and so on the bottom. So if I only needed, let's say 160, I used a 270 belt and split it up over and over until I had the exact amount to send to a station, right? This next one here makes us the modular frames. Then over here, I think these are rotors. Yes, there's a big thing of rotors because you need a lot of them. Then over here, we make the encased beams. Here we make stators. So much stuff. Oh, I love this. This game is so awesome. Then motors. And I think last but not least, we're making AI limiters. Yes, and then we should be back in the beginning, right? Yes. Now, on this floor, there's one machine that I added, and I'll get to later on why I added that mod, and that's right here. And that actually makes us, check it out. We're making power shards out of rotors and copper sheets. It's a mod I added. And I have 900 or 1,000 or some 2, 4, 6, 8, 900. I put some fuel in here just because I didn't want to have the entire chest full of shards. That's a lot of shards, right? So I didn't want this to keep producing. Which I guess it doesn't really matter. Well, I'm not saving this world. I forgot. So no reason to make a change here. Yeah, and so there I added this one assembler here just because we are going to need a lot of power shards. And I'll tell you guys in a minute why, okay? Not why we need the power shards, but why I got that mod. Okay, and now last but not least, we are on the top floor. And yes, over here, this is what we had finished in the end of that last episode, and that makes us the heavy modular frames. That's how far we got, okay? Now, on my break, I added these couple machines here because I started exploring. Once I unlocked the oil, I got myself the truck, and I explored the entire map. I drove around, collected tons and tons of hard drives, and, you know, slugs and all that stuff, everything. But anyway, so here we're making beacons. Does not go down in the storage system. I might add it, but for now I just store them here. And that goes into here to make us rifle cartridges, which I'll never understand why a rifle cartridge needs a beacon, but whatever. So that's automated. And then over here we are making obelisks because always got to blow up stuff, right? So now here we have a storage container full of cartridges and a storage container full of nobelisks. So I never need to make those again. They're automated. And then after a while, I also added this section over here, which is tier 5 and 6, a couple of parts. These 4 assemblers make a circuit board. So I'm making 100 circuit boards a minute. I overclock them nicely, so each one of them makes 25. And this sends some of them here to make the high-speed connectors, because we did not have those automated. We are also making the computers here, but there's not enough rubber. So that's currently not running. And then the last thing I automated, and the storage is finally full, is crystal oscillators. That's why I ran the Quartz directly over here, so I can use that. Okay, a couple more small things that I want to show off is the Criterium here I didn't show earlier, but we did that in one in-between episode where we prepared everything for, I think here, that was like a prep. It was something called Dogo Park in prep work, the episode, and I off camera added this Criterium building because we just finished the super smelters. And this is just another smelter. I didn't want to spend time, setting up a smelter again on camera, even though we just did an 1.5-hour episode over there. So this is where all the Criterium is made. On the bottom here is just load balancing of the Criterium that comes in. And then it goes over that way. And now, the Dogo Park changed. If you guys remember the episode where we set this up, there is water down here, a little pond, there was beach. It was really cute. It was very nice. And you guys can see one there. Where's the second one? Back there. I have, over the last couple months, every time I played and I found Dogos, I brought them back. I brought back at least 20 Dogos because that's where I got all my slugs from initially, right? It was awesome. But I am pretty certain that I figured out how they kept disappearing. When Dogos get loaded and they are in water, it doesn't matter if there's foundations under that water. I had foundations underneath it to test it, everything. They seem to just fall. And it only happens in water, right? These two are still here and they're on foundations. So they kept just falling out of the world, I guess, or something. And I got tired. I'm like, you know what? This is a pain in the butt. I don't want to get any more. And that's when I decided to add the mod for the power shards. Why not? I mean, it's a technology thing, right? We're advanced. We have a space elevator, okay? We should be able to make our own power shards. And now we have enough, okay? Endless. And, okay, so we showed that building. The awesome building over here. I'm not sure if I have shown this on camera or not. This might have been another in-between project, but very old. I added this one day. I just added it's 12 awesome things. Let me turn on the light because here I actually set up light as well to play around with it. No, not that. It's just on. And it gets very bright here in the middle. I get to lighting at the end of the episode. I'm going to give you guys my input on that. This one over here, this one is actually MK4. The other ones are all MK3. This is the one that comes from the storage system. So if I avoid anything, it goes into here. And the only other one that's currently running is the black powder here. Okay? Now I gotta figure out why there's only so little right now, because it's supposed to run at full speed. But to give you an idea, we are making 50,000 points a minute now. With the quartz cave, this black powder, and also another setup with some aluminum that I'm gonna show off in just a second. Okay, yes, and then of course we had the big Christmas event, which was awesome and fun. I really enjoyed that a lot. And this is my little Christmas building that I set up for that. Now this is in no way perfect ratios. This is just something I relaxed, enjoyed. It was really fun to do, and I hope they add more events like this. Only thing I'm a little bit sad about is that, you know, when they turn it off, it doesn't work anymore. So maybe next Christmas it works again, and then the presents just come out of these trees and everything works again, right? There's a lot of presents I made here. And then down here is just, it starts over here. This was the first couple of constructors I added. Makes the tree branch after you unlock it, and then the more double tree branch. And then, you know, all the way down to the very final ornament, or it's not an ornament, it's the tree topper star. What is it called? The Wonder Star, right? And then, you guys have seen all of this. it's time to start talking about what I prepared for that next episode. Now, the rule was in the grasslands we can use conveyors, but if anything else gets made, it needs to come in via train, right, to this area. And only products. I'm not bringing in aluminum here to get, processed or anything. No. Whatever is down the line, the supercomputers and quantum entanglement, whatever stuff, I don't know actually. All these things need to come in via train. So I said, you know what, I'm going to prepare that now that we've unlocked it. I also wanted to learn how to, how they work and all this. So I made one big train station here with there's 4 train stations, and this one is ready for the next episode. This is where we're going to unload plastic, rubber, and the packaged fuel for my jetpack, right? And then every one of these is ready up to, you guys see right there, there, and there. All our trains are going to have 2 locomotives. That's why there's an empty one right there. The main locomotive goes here, empty locomotive. And then 5 wagons. Either cargo or fluid. Whatever we need in the world, it's always the same length. And that's why there's 5 conveyors ready. And I got them all running over here. Let me turn off the light again. It's too shiny. And then I just had fun with this. This was actually before the smart mod was updated. So that's how long ago I built this. And they all come in from the outside in this intermittent. I think that's a word. Intermittent? Intermediate? Yeah, in between storage boxes. And then in the middle, they come back out over this way. And then they're ready to go into the storage system. Now, I have a lot of belts ready here. Okay, that's 20 belts. I don't know if we'll ever need them all, but it's ready, right? And these 3, again, plastic, rubber, fuel. And I have not tied it into the storage yet. That's what we're going to do next episode, these top 3. Figure out on how we get them in. Okay, after that, because whenever you build somewhere away, I wanted to have a way of getting there without hypertubes. Again, I don't want to run hypertubes. There's a temporary one over there. We'll go in a second. Outside of the grasslands, I want to go there via train. So I made by the way, GLB stands for Grassland Base. Grassland Base. Wow, why was that so hard to say? And this is my personal train, this train station here. Currently, you guys see, this is where I unloaded everything before I made the save. This is all the items I have on me. And then these are also full with a ton of stuff to start oil. Right? And plastic and rubber. So if I go in somewhere, I set up a train station there first, and I can always go there, work, and if I run out of materials, I get in my train, come back home. And then when I'm done there, obviously I don't need to go there again. So I'm just going to use that train station for the regular pickup or drop off. Something like that. Down here's our trucks that we're not using anymore. Well, maybe, I don't know, but I added this little truck stop here. This is where I unloaded plastic and rubber. I used this truck, and you know what? Let's just go there so I can show you some signs from a mod real quick. So we're just gonna fly there a little bit so you can guys maybe see a little bit more of the stuff that we have built, all the miner setups and everything. And you follow this path or this road, get by the baddies. Up this way. I hope it's not too stuttery when I do this. Okay, and then here you guys see Oil West. And on the other side, I have a sign that says Main Factory. Just a little something, and I also put street lights here that are set up to only work at nighttime. They turn on, right? And then we follow this, this way. And Oil West. And, yep, and over here we take a left, right? Yes. Okay, so now this brings us to where we are going to spend a lot of time, at least for one episode. If not 2, you guys see I ran the train, spiraled down, and then here is this train station that is ready to pick up the final products. Okay, and this one is called, I think, Oil West. Yes, so this is Oil West. All right, so there is a little bit of a oil setup. So I tapped into one of the oil nodes right here, and then I just made plastic and rubber You guys see that coming in here. And it used to go into 2 storage chests here, and I have since taken them down. And this is where I came over. There was a bridge right there and a bridge right here, and I came with the truck, loaded it by hand, and then I drove back, right? So that's how I did everything and got all these computers. And then we also make out of that heavy oil residue, we make fuel, package that, yada yada. This is all here for me to just test how the process worked. It's always easy to do on a spreadsheet, but until you actually see it in action, it helps me a lot to make things like this, right? So this is, I just played around with this. All this is going to be torn down until the next episode, but I wanted to show you guys in this world tour so you know what has been there. And I have 3 each of these ready. There is plastic, 9,600 in each, and 9,600 rubber in each. So that should be enough for this project to get going. And then this is where the regular stuff is going to be. The fuel, the rubber, that's why I marked them like that, so I don't get them mixed up, and plastic. Okay, and then 2 more things. Yes, guys, then we're done with the world tour. I just wanted to follow this track here. Wish I could fly faster, but man, I'm spoiled. And the goal was to keep the tracks near the ground. I did not want to make straight, long, high bridges, nothing. I wanted to go with the natural terrain, right? And it also makes it a lot easier to build. They're not hard to build, it's just time consuming. But fun. I enjoy it. I love these trains. And I'm just getting to the point of how far I ran it to show you why, and then we'll go to the last spot, and then we are done with this world tour. I hope there's nothing else I forgot. Okay, so there we go. That's why I also marked it with a beacon. This is a big intersection, okay? I added this right here just so I have a turnaround for my personal train for now, right? Because, of course, I was following the track with my personal train. I'm not going to run this. And it was full with materials. And then if I needed to go home, well, how do I get home? So that's why I made this one turnaround, and I can just go home now. This is going that way, whatever awaits us in the future. And this is actually the one that I'm going to need to have in the future, or the near future. Not next episode, but after that probably. And that needs to go up here into the pink forest. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and head there now. Looks really cool for me, doesn't it? But I wanted to show you guys where we are. So, main factory, that's that main train station, concrete, and so on. So I pinged for aluminum, because in order to make blenders, where is blenders? There. We need 50 aluminum casings. And, well, I needed aluminum, and I just wanted to do it with the blender. We'll go into details for that next episode, which recipe we're going to use and so on. But that's why I unlocked the blenders, right? Instead of having to use packagers and unpackagers and all that stuff, I'm like, you know what? We're going to use blenders. They just put them in for a reason. So I pinged for aluminum, and then I came somewhere over here, right? And I knew from the little dings it was up into pink forest. I'm like, great. How do I get there? I mean, how do you get there, right? So I just made, where are we? Giant foundation tower for now, right? And I ran a hypertube up, and then I bridged over here, and the pink forest is no joke. It is dangerous over here. And again, it's not decorated because this is temporary. Once the train is running here, this is it. We're done. I'm going to tear this down. And I set up this very small aluminum production over here that I'm going to run you through real quick. Over here is a coal node, because you need coal for it. And here's a water extractor. It was really convenient that all this was right here. I was very lucky. And this comes down here, and then here is the bauxite vein. Okay, and then right here, we're just doing one refinery to make this alumina solution and silica. The silica gets pulled out and goes back here to this assembler. And the alumina solution goes into here to make aluminum scrap and water. And the water actually comes back and feeds back into this one. Now, this whole system can run endless, okay? It's made exactly that the water that I'm making is getting used before the water from the water extractor. That's why I have a valve there and a valve here. So I can exactly govern how much goes through and so on, right? So it never gets clogged up, the system. And then, yeah, the scrap comes out here into this fella. This is a foundry. Together with that silica that we're making. Nowhere perfect ratios, guys. I just wanted to make some. It makes the aluminum ingots. And these aluminum ingots either go into this one to make us aluminum casing, or it goes into the storage container. If it doesn't have room there, it gets voided, just like the aluminum casing, the aluminum scrap gets voided here, right? Again, so it never stops running. So we're making a couple more points here. That's why we are up to, yeah, around 50,000 a minute of these points. Okay, so, yeah, this is everything. Now let me go ahead, and while I fly back to the base, I wanted to talk to you guys about, I want to get your input, okay? On the future. Number one, of course, is we're going to use trains between the different factories and everything. But there's two ways of going about in the future. And I hope that I can explain it, and I want to hear you guys' input. I'm also going to tell you which one I favor, okay? So let's say we need 5 different products to make the supercomputers or something, okay? Just don't quote me on it. Don't look at the recipes. Just let's say 5 different products. Now, these 5 different products are going to have sub-products as well as resources like that you need to smelt. Iron, copper, aluminum, all that stuff. Now, what we could do is send the raw resources to that supercomputer area. And then we make everything from A to Z. And then in the next area where we have whatever is next, quantum computers. Again, you need a ton of materials, and we can go all the way down to the resources and send those directly there. And then make everything from A to Z in one place. Now, the second variant is that, for example, if we look in the world, let's say, and I'm just pointing at random areas, like right here, okay? We could add an area that makes aluminum. The aluminum casings and aluminum ingots. And we have a train there that is dedicated 1 or 2, 3 trains, however many, to only aluminum. So that means all the aluminum raw resources in the world that we find, we bring here to get processed. And then the smelted and parts that are made out of aluminum are waiting there, okay? Now, our supercomputer factory could be over here. That needs aluminum. The casings, for example, right? Then we would send those here. But we could have another factory here that makes product X that also needs aluminum. So the train unloads there and there, or multiple trains. Now the same for anything else that we need in these other factories. Iron plates, steel. We could make dedicated areas that are only making steel. And then every other factory in the world that needs steel gets the steel from there. So, variant 1, make everything in place at those factories from the raw resources. Number 2, make centralized production smelting areas that make these sub-products that we need in the world. Okay? So, for example, we could have an in-between, right? So let's say something needs a lot of circuit boards. You know, bring everything together from these other resource factories to make circuit boards. And then the circuit boards get distributed to other places. I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say, but I want to hear you guys' input. Now, I favor the second variant, where we have an aluminum production, we have a steel production, an iron production, a copper production, chyterium production, crystal production. So you have these smaller factories all over the place with trains, and the trains bring everything to the end product facilities and use it there. I think that would be a lot more fun, right? I'm even going so far that if some of these inland, like the aluminum, right, needs a lot of water to get produced and coal, I would even set up a central water area. Right, there's these spouts, for example, that are new now. I forgot what the name is. The gas veins, and there's some of them with water. You know, have trains there get filled up with water and bring the water to the different plants instead of, you know, building it right on the ocean and using all the water from the ocean. Certain things don't make sense to do that, like the oil that we're going to set up over here, right? I need the room and I'm already in the water, so I'm gonna have the water extractors directly there. But other things, I think it would be cool. So let me know, let me hear you guys' opinion on that. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick is just the mods that I'm using, because people often ask me that. And now that they all have changed, I just wanted to give you an update. The first one is 3D text, okay? That is this sign right there, the spinny one. It's the FICSIT. And of course, all the letters that we have on the side of the buildings. I'm trying to get it into render right there, like over here, iron FE25. Right, these big 3D text that we have. Over here is copper. You saw it on the steel towers. That's that mod. The next mod is called Smart Mod, which is amazing. It's a mod that lets you build big areas very easily, okay? And I'm just going to give you an example over here. So a very simple example. So for example, let's just come from this building. It doesn't matter, okay? So you can place a foundation, turn it, and then I can just put it out like this. You press H, it holds it in place so you can actually see how long, okay? Oh, you know what? I need it longer. Oh, you know what? I'd like to build it wider too. And now if I would press the left mouse button, it would place concrete well, it wouldn't work because it's red. But you can build big platforms like this, right? And the same goes also for machinery and even belts. So I have not used the belts yet, but there is a way of doing it. And let me see if I can figure this out real quick. So I know Shift and Alt, and you go up. And then if we go, not this way, Shift. Yes, you guys see? You can make it like this. And then with another button, I can increase the distance between those conveyors. And then you place it, and it does everything for you. Right, it places the whole, you still need to use your materials, you don't get anything for free. And of course, last but not least, the same goes for, constructors. So if you want to place multiple constructors like this, you can also space them and so on. And then there's another thing where you can even set up splitters in front, and it will automatically connect the conveyors and all that jazz. Amazing mod. I wouldn't want to miss it, especially for building just a platform. If that's all I have from this mod, yes, just building big platforms. That's great. Okay, the next mod is Permaday, which I'm going to tell you in a second why. Then Empty Hands. Okay, Empty Hands adds a 6th slot right there. And you can make an item, and you put that in there. And then when you select it, you just have empty hands. Right? Because it always bugged me that I need to hold a coffee cup because it's the smallest. So that's that mod. Then I have X3 signs. You just saw them on the when we followed the road. Those street signs. The way I label my conveyor tubes. And then I have the cheap power shards you just saw. And then I have one more mod that is called hard drives from computers. Which is going to bring me to my last 2 points I wanted to make. One is about, this is a automation game to me, guys. I've explored it, and I'm gonna have to do more exploring. I had the jetpack, I got up into high places. I have no idea why this is explored over there. I was never there. It's just explored for some reason. But like I was getting up into high places to get hard drives and so on. But it's an automation game, not exploration. I would disable the hostile mobs if it would leave the gas. Because there's a mod you can do, it's called passive, but it also disables all the gas. And I don't want to disable gas because it adds something to it. I don't mind that part, but the animals are annoying. But they're in there, I deal with them, I got cartridges now. But I got this thing here, this mod, HD Cheat, that's what it's called. It costs you 10 computers to make a hard drive, okay? And I kept researching them until I finally got that diluted fuel, whatever it's called, in the blender, because that's what I needed for next episode. I would always do that. I don't want to just unlock all. There's a command, and I think there's also a mod that just teaches you all recipes. I don't want to take it that far, but as long as I can make the hard drives, I don't need to go out and mess around with that. It's fine. Okay. And now to the last point when it comes to lights. Okay, last but not least, I wanted to talk about why do I have the Permaday mod, right? Because now we have lights. And I'm going to show you guys a couple different spots and my opinion on lights. Now, in here, you guys see I have a ton of lights. Street lights and these, whatever they're called, the ceiling lights, right? And granted, they are not at full brightness. They are currently a little bit dimmed, but I can show you that as well. So they are a little bit dimmed here. Let's crank them up all the way. And then usually I need to turn it on and off for the settings to actually come in, right? And that doesn't light up a bigger area. It just makes it really glary, right? And that's why I have them dimmed down a little bit. Now, this is a good example to me, all right? That all these lights are like a straight down beam. This is it. The street lights, these lights and everything. These machines would not be dark in a real world scenario, guys. There is no way. With this amount of lights, this would be bright all the way up to here, okay? If you have never been in a big warehouse or a factory or anything, then I'm sorry, you just need to take my word for it. I've been in many of them, okay? And even with shelving up to the ceiling full of black tires, okay? I was in tire warehouses and so on. I did work for a tire wholesaler, so I've been in a lot of warehouses with tires. It is never dark, okay? And they just have small fluorescent lights on the ceiling. Okay, somewhere here, it doesn't matter. Why am I doing this? I'm not saving. I could have just left it. But anyway, so that's the area number one, and it gets more obvious of what I'm talking about. For example, here, look at the size of these fluorescent lights up there. Okay, if you had something like this in a factory, and all these machines have metal, sheet metal, the conveyors are made out of metal, the conveyor lifts have metal on them. All these things would be reflective. The light wouldn't just be a spotlight right there. It's a perfect example. One foundation for this giant lamp, okay? Everything here would be bright, including these walls. There would be light absolutely everywhere. And that makes it very hard to light up a factory so you can make YouTube videos. If you play and you're okay with this and you like this little light here, but it doesn't make good. This is for an adventure, like whatever, a scary game and so on. This is what you play, right? But not when you play an automation factory game. I love Coffee Stain Studios. It's an experimental. They have done amazing work. The lights were a surprise. Nobody knew they were coming. I love that there is lights in the game, but I really hope they rethink this, that they change something, because it would be ridiculous how many lights you would need. I would need lights right there. I would need lights right there. The power cost, after next episode, we wouldn't care. It's just, it's not nice either, right? Let me see what other places I have lights set up to show you a little bit more. I don't have them here. Where did I set up lights? I thought I had lights on some of these floors. Did I tear them down? No. What? I thought I had lights. Must have torn them down again. I know I have some on the bottom floor, and then I'll show you a couple more spots. Yeah, right there on these. Guys, just take my word for it. If this was real life scenario. Now, obviously, we can't expect them to make everything actually reflective, because then you would need a supercomputer, because the calculations on that would be insane. But I don't know, just make it huge. I don't know, guys, how this can be fixed. Maybe you guys have some good input. Maybe a lot of people left them good input again, and it's already in their to-do list. I just wanted to give you my 5 cents, just to get the storage area bright. Even with the permaday mod, I wanted to have lights here, because you spend a lot of time in your storage area picking up stuff, dropping off things. And I used only the street lights. It does work right here, but that's because I have street lights right there and right there, right? But guess what? As soon as you come in here, there's this magic border, and boom, everything is dark. It wouldn't be dark. Okay. And yes, now we can also take a look real quick at the floodlights. They work a little better. They are not too bad. But again, imagine, these are like stadium lights. Like, think of a small baseball field in your community, or a small football field. This all would be here bright as day. I mean, you guys know it. You've been to baseball games. it wouldn't just stop right there. These are huge, right? So yeah, that's my opinion. I do have lights, and every new area that we are building, I am adding lights. I'm not going to avoid them. Everything is going to have lights. So in case they fix it in the future, it's going to look awesome, right? Here it kind of works, but that's 4 stadium lights. Jesus. That's a lot, right? And then of course over here, we have the big train station. There it gets already a little bit dimmer, right? You see the darkness right here. This was actual stadium lights. It would be brightest day here, especially with, what's there, 10 of them. Okay, anyways, I just wanted to give you the reason why I have the permaday mod. Okay, and one more thing I added after I was done with everything. I figured, you know what? We did talk about the concrete earlier that I use so very little. And there were 3 extra lanes right here that I broke out. You guys see them going down now? And actually something is moving. And they're coming down over here, and I added another train station here. And this is the grassland base concrete. So, if we need concrete anywhere else in the world, we're gonna get it from here first. It's ready for 2 more carts, so maybe if I need more, I could have just merged all this into 1. But for now, I'm just gonna have 3. I can always change this afterwards if I only, make 3 MK2s into 1 MK4, and boom, the thing was filled just as fast. But it's not bad to have all this reserve here, right? Until this is full. And then this will get loaded, and then I have this as a reserve right here, and I do have MK4s here. So if the train ever picks something up, it will fill that super fast from these in-between containers again. Okay, that is it. That is the conclusion. I am done talking. I have, oh my god, so much time, so much talking to do a world tour. And I'm really happy that I got it out of the way, so next episode you guys are not getting caught off guard. It's like, hey, where did this train station come from? Or, hey, where did you get the aluminum from for this project? You guys know it now, okay? And, yeah, next episode, big power, because we are low. We cannot run everything we have. I'm trying to find a power pole. There we go. There's a power pole. To give an idea why we badly need power. I should add lights down here. I'm going to do that. We are currently producing 5250, and we need, at max, when everything runs, 9724. So, like, if I take something out, I need to be careful. I cannot take items out of all these chests at once. Because then everything, our entire factory would kick in, and then poof, no power, okay? So if I take computers out, I need computers, then I'll take a few stacks of that first and go AFK, wait, right? And then I might take out whatever other products I need, because I can't turn it on. But the train is full, a bunch of boxes are full, so we are ready for next episode, and I am excited to tackle this project. It's gonna be fun, it's gonna be insane. A minimum of 200 fuel generators, possibly 400, but we'll go into details about that next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm looking forward to your comments and feedback, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.